The cantina on Nexus Prime was exactly what Hanna expected from a neutral trading station. Dark corners filled with smoke from a dozen different worlds. Strange smells mixing together in the recycled air. Beings from across the galaxy sitting at mismatched tables speaking in languages that made her translation device work overtime. Hanna sat alone at the bar, nursing a drink that tasted like liquid metal but cost less than water. She had been traveling for 3 weeks now, jumping from system to system as part of her research mission. Her job was simple enough. Study the dangerous creatures on different worlds, take notes, send reports back to Earth. The pay was decent, and she got to see parts of the galaxy most humans never would. The bartender was a blob of green gel that somehow managed to pour drinks without spilling. It had served her without question when she walked in 2 hours ago. That was one thing she liked about places like this. Nobody asked too many questions as long as you paid your bill and minded your own business. At a table across the room, 3 aliens were getting loud, really loud. Their voices carried over the background noise of the cantina, drawing annoyed looks from other customers. Hanna tried to ignore them, but their conversation was hard to miss. The loudest of the 3 was clearly reptilian. His scales caught the dim light as he moved, shifting from dark green to almost black depending on the angle. He was tall, probably 7 feet when standing, with muscular arms that ended in clawed hands. A warrior, Hanna guessed. Everything about him screamed predator. The sandworm was 20 meters long, the reptilian alien said, his voice carrying across the room. Its teeth were like swords. One bite could cut a transport ship in half. His companions listened with obvious respect. One was insectoid, with 6 limbs and compound eyes that reflected the bar lights like black mirrors. Its body was covered in what looked like natural armor, dark plates that overlapped like ancient battle gear. When it moved, Hanna could hear soft clicking sounds like claws tapping on metal. The 3rd alien was unlike anything Hanna had seen before. Its body seemed to be made of living crystal, shifting colors as it moved. Blue, purple, clear as glass, then back to blue again. When it spoke, its voice had a musical quality, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. 20 meters, the crystal being said, its voice ringing softly. That is impressive, Crix. But size is not everything in a hunt, so the reptilian one was named Crix. Hanna made a mental note. She had learned to pay attention to details during her years of fieldwork. You never knew what information might be useful later. Crix laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. True, Bulgrim. But when something that big wants to eat you, size matters quite a bit. The insectoid alien clicked its mandibles together in what Hanna assumed was laughter. You both speak of individual hunts, it said, its voice sharp and precise. On my world we hunt in swarms, 1,000 of my kind moving as one mind. No prey can escape us. Ah, Thalner, Crix said. But where is the honor in that? Anyone can win with 1,000 allies. Try facing a sandworm alone, with nothing but your claws and your wits. Hanna found herself listening despite her better judgment. She had always been curious about alien cultures, especially their relationships with dangerous creatures. It was part of what made her good at her job. Understanding how different species dealt with predators could teach her a lot about both the hunters and the hunted. The plasma bears of my homeworld, Bulgrim chimed in. They can melt through solid rock with their breath. I have faced 3 at once and lived to tell about it. The 3 aliens continued their boasting, each trying to top the others with tales of dangerous encounters. Crix described wrestling with acid-spitting lizards in desert canyons. Thalner spoke of hunting escaped prisoners through asteroid fields using nothing but natural instincts and razor-sharp limbs. Bulgrim told stories of creatures made of living fire that could burn through starship hulls. As their voices grew louder, other customers began to leave. The bartender blob made what might have been a disapproving noise, but said nothing. This was a neutral station. As long as nobody started breaking things, everyone was welcome. Hanna noticed the 3 aliens looking her way more often as the evening wore on. At first, the glances were curious. A lone human in a place like this was unusual. Humans rarely traveled this far from their core worlds without good reason or heavy protection. But as the aliens drank more, their looks became less friendly. Hana heard whispers between their louder boasts. Words like soft skin and weakling carried across the room. She kept her face neutral and continued to sip her drink, but she was getting ready to leave if things got worse. "Look at that one," Crick said, his voice loud enough for half the bar to hear. "Sitting there like it owns the place." "Humans," Thalner clicked dismissively. "They hide behind their machines and their weapons. Take those away and what do you have? Soft meat with no claws, no fangs, no armor." "I heard they keep small animals as pets," Bulgrim added, its crystal body flashing with what might have been amusement. "Helpless creatures that depend on them for food, how pathetic." Hana felt her jaw tighten. She had dealt with this kind of attitude before. Many alien species saw humans as weak because they lacked obvious natural weapons. No claws, no venomous fangs, no thick hide or natural armor, just soft skin and clever brains. The three aliens seemed to be working themselves up, feeding off each other's contempt. Other customers were definitely leaving now, not wanting to be around if things turned violent. The bartender Blob was making more agitated noises, I wonder, Crick said, his voice dripping with false curiosity. What the most dangerous thing a human has ever faced might be. A house spider, perhaps. Or maybe a small rodent with sharp teeth. His companions found this hilarious. Thalner's clicking laughter sounded like breaking glass. Bulgrim's crystal body flashed through several colors as it vibrated with mirth. Hana had heard enough. She finished her drink in one swallow and stood up. The metal taste burned her throat, but she kept her expression calm. 3 sets of alien eyes fixed on her as she walked toward their table. Time to show them what humans were really made of. Hana approached the table with steady steps. Her boots made soft sounds on the metal floor of the cantina. The 3 aliens watched her come closer, their expressions shifting from amusement to curiosity. She could feel the tension in the air, like electricity before a storm. "Good evening," she said, her voice polite but firm. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. You have some fascinating stories about your homeworlds." Crix leaned back in his chair, which creaked under his weight. His scaled face showed surprise that the human had approached them directly. Most species would have left the bar by now or called for security. Instead, this small creature was standing right in front of them, looking completely calm. "Oh, the little human wants to talk," Crick said, his voice mocking. "How brave of you to come over here." Thalner's compound eyes focused on Hana like twin black mirrors. "Perhaps it wants to hear real stories of combat and survival, not the soft tales of its own kind." "Please sit down," Bulgrim chimed, its crystal body flashing with colors. "We were just discussing what it means to face true danger. You might learn something useful." Hana pulled out an empty chair and sat down, without being asked twice. She placed her hands on the table, keeping them visible and relaxed. Years of working with dangerous animals had taught her the importance of body language. Never show fear, but never appear threatening either. "I would love to hear more about your experiences," she said genuinely. "I study dangerous creatures for a living, so your stories are actually quite interesting to me professionally." The 3 aliens exchanged glances. This was not the response they had expected. Most humans they had encountered were either terrified of them or tried to act tough to hide their fear. This one seemed actually interested in their tales of violence and survival. "You study dangerous creatures," Crix repeated slowly. "What kind of dangerous creatures could possibly exist on your soft little world?" "I mean," Thalner clicked, "we have heard about Earth. Green plants, blue water, small harmless animals. Nothing that could challenge a real predator. The most dangerous thing on Earth is probably another human with a weapon," Bulgrim added, its musical voice carrying a note of condescension. "Your species has no natural defenses at all." Hana nodded thoughtfully. "You know, you're not entirely wrong about humans lacking natural weapons. We don't have claws or fangs or armored skin like you do. But we do share our world with some pretty remarkable predators." "Such as?" Crix demanded, his scaled arms crossing over his chest. The gesture made his already impressive muscles look even larger. "Well," Hana said, reaching into her jacket pocket, "I do have a pet back home. Would you like to see some pictures of her and her babies?" The three aliens looked at each other and burst into laughter. Crix's grinding chuckle mixed with Thalnor's sharp clicks and Bolgrim's musical tones to create a sound that made other customers look their way with concern. "A pet?" Crix wheezed between laughs. "Oh, this is perfect. The human wants to show us pictures of her pet." "Let me guess," Thalnor said, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "A small furry creature that sits in your lap and purrs, or perhaps one of those creatures that follows you around and begs for food scraps." "I bet it sleeps in her bed at night," Bolgrim added, flashing bright yellow with amusement. "Completely helpless without human protection." Hana smiled patiently and pulled out her personal data pad. The device was scratched and worn from years of fieldwork, but the screen lit up clearly when she activated it. She began scrolling through her photo collection with obvious affection. "Her name is Nabi," Hana said warmly. "I've had her for about 3 years now. She's really quite special to me." "Of course she is," Crix said, still grinning. "I'm sure. Your little pet is very cute and cuddly. Show us this fearsome beast that shares your human dwelling." The other customers in the cantina had gone quiet. Some were watching the interaction with obvious interest. Others were finishing their drinks quickly and heading for the exit. The bartender Blob was making nervous gurgling sounds. Hana found the photos she was looking for and turned the datapad screen toward the three aliens. "Here's my girl Nabi, and here are some recent pictures of her litter." The laughter died instantly. On the bright screen was a magnificent creature with golden fur marked by distinctive black stripes. The animal was massive, easily 400 pounds of pure muscle and predatory grace. Its amber eyes stared out from the photo with the confident gaze of a born killer. Even in the still image, its power was unmistakable. The next photo showed the same creature with 4 smaller versions of herself. The cubs were adorable but already showed the same predatory features as their mother. Sharp teeth, powerful legs, and those same intelligent eyes that seemed to see everything. Crix's mouth fell open, revealing rows of his own sharp teeth. His scaled hands gripped the edge of the table hard enough to leave claw marks in the metal. "That," he said slowly, "is your pet." "That's Nabi," Hana confirmed cheerfully. "Isn't she beautiful? And these are her cubs from last spring. They're getting so big now." Thalnor's antennae were twitching rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. "That creature could kill a dozen of my kind without effort." "Impossible," Bolgrim whispered, its crystal body cycling through colors so fast it was almost painful to watch. "Humans do not keep apex predators as companions. They cannot. No species does this." "Oh, but we do," Hana said, swiping to another photo. This one showed her sitting next to the massive predator, her hand resting on its striped fur. The creature looked completely relaxed, almost sleepy. "This was taken just before I left for this mission. She likes to nap in the sunshine." The three aliens stared at the image in complete silence. Around the cantina, other customers were beginning to whisper among themselves. Word was spreading quickly that the quiet human had just shown photos of herself with one of the galaxy's most dangerous predator types. "Your species," Crix said carefully, "forms bonds with apex predators." "We call them tigers," Hana said. "And, yes, we've been working with big cats for thousands of years. Would you like to hear more about it?" The cantina had gone completely silent. Even the background hum of the air recycling system seemed quieter than before. Every being in the room was staring at their table, trying to process what they had just witnessed. A human, the supposedly weakest species in the galaxy, had just shown photos of herself cuddling with an apex predator. Hana seemed completely unaware of the attention they were attracting. She continued scrolling through photos on her datapad with the same fond smile she might wear while looking at family pictures, which, in a way, she was. "This one is my favorite," she said, turning the screen so all three aliens could see clearly. The image showed the massive tiger lying on her back in what appeared to be a large outdoor enclosure. Her 4 cubs were climbing all over her, play fighting with each other and their mother. "Nabi is such a good mother, very patient with the little ones." Crix was the first to find his voice, though it came out as barely more than a whisper. You said you have had this creature for 3 years. That's right, Hana nodded. She came to our sanctuary as a cub herself. Her mother had been killed by poachers, so we bottle-fed her and raised her by hand. Sanctuary, Thalner repeated, his mandibles clicking nervously. You mean there are more of these creatures? Oh yes, lots more. We have about 40 big cats. At our facility. Tigers, lions, leopards, jaguars. All different species, but all apex predators in their own right. Bulgrim's crystal body had settled into a deep blue color that seemed to indicate shock or fear. 40 apex predators, in one location, and humans work among them daily. Well, we're careful, of course, Hana said, as if discussing the weather. But yes, we feed them, clean their enclosures, provide medical care when they need it. Some of them, like Nabi, are very social. Others prefer to keep their distance. She swiped to another photo. This one showed a human man, clearly Korean like herself, sitting peacefully while a massive male lion rested its huge head on his lap. The man was scratching behind the lion's ears, and the big cat's eyes were closed in obvious contentment. That's my colleague, Park Do-hyun, Hana explained. This is Simba, one of our male lions. He weighs about 500 pounds and could break Do-hyun's neck with one swipe of his paw, but look at how relaxed they both are. The 3 aliens stared at the image in growing amazement. In their cultures, predators were enemies to be defeated or avoided. The idea of voluntary, peaceful contact with such dangerous creatures was beyond their understanding. Your colleague trusts his life to this beast, Crick said slowly. And the beast trusts Do-hyun right back, Hana replied. That's what makes it work. Mutual respect and understanding. She showed them more photos. Humans walking alongside tigers during exercise time. A woman bottle-feeding an enormous leopard cub. Children on a school trip watching in wonder as a jaguar demonstrated its swimming abilities in a specially designed pool. Children, Thalnor clicked in disbelief. You bring your young near these predators? Education is important, Hana said. How can people learn to protect and respect these animals if they never get to see them up close? Of course, there are safety barriers and trained staff present at all times. Bulgrim leaned forward, his crystal body now pulsing with what appeared to be intense curiosity. But why? Why do humans choose to live alongside such dangerous creatures? What do you gain from this arrangement? Hana's smile grew wider. What do we gain? Well, that's a long story. She swiped to a video file and hit play. The small screen showed Nabi in motion, her massive form moving with liquid grace as she stalked through tall grass. Even on the tiny display, her power was obvious. Every muscle worked in perfect coordination as she hunted. Tigers are incredible. Hunters, Hana explained as they watched. They can leap horizontally for 30 feet. Their night vision is 6 times better than ours. They can bring down prey twice their own weight. The video shifted to show Nabi interacting with her human caretakers. The same creature that had just demonstrated lethal hunting skills was now gently taking food from a human hand, her massive head lowering carefully to avoid accidentally injuring the much smaller person. But they're also capable of forming deep, emotional bonds, Hana continued. Nabi knows every person who works with her. She has favorite games, favorite foods, favorite places to nap. She even has a favorite caretaker who she always greets first when he arrives for work. Emotional bonds, Crix repeated. With a predator. With lots of predators, Hana corrected. Tigers are just one example. Humans have been forming partnerships with dangerous animals for thousands of years. She showed them photos of domestic dogs, explaining how they were descended from wolves. Images of house cats, small but efficient killers that humans invited into their homes. Pictures of horses, powerful animals that could easily kill a person with one kick, but instead carried humans across vast distances. We don't see them as enemies to defeat, Hana said, her voice growing passionate. We see them as partners to understand. Each species has something unique to offer. The 3 aliens sat in stunned silence, trying to process this completely. Foreign concept. In their worlds, the strong dominated the weak. Predators killed prey. The idea of cooperation across species lines, especially with dangerous species, challenged everything they thought they knew about survival. Your species, Thalner said slowly, has no fear. Oh, we have plenty of fear, Hana laughed. But we've learned that fear and respect can coexist. I'm very aware that Nabi could kill me easily if she wanted to, but I also know that she doesn't want to. That makes all the difference. Around the cantina, other customers were beginning to whisper among themselves in dozens of different languages. The story of the human with pet predators was spreading quickly through the room. Hana could see she had their complete attention now. The three aliens who had been mocking humans just minutes ago were hanging on her every word. She decided to push a little further, to help them understand just how deep the relationship between humans and predators really went. Let me show you something else, she said, scrolling through her files. This might help explain how we think about dangerous animals. She found what she was looking for and turned the screen toward them. The image showed a massive creature emerging from dark water. Its jaws opened to reveal rows of triangular teeth. The beast was easily 20 feet long and built like a living weapon. Great white shark, Hana said calmly. One of Earth's most efficient predators. They've been hunting in our oceans for over 400 million years. Crick studied the image, with obvious unease. And humans share territory with these creatures. We share the oceans, yes. People swim, surf, and dive in waters where great whites live. Attacks are extremely rare because we've learned to understand their behavior. She swiped to the next image, which showed a human in diving gear swimming peacefully alongside the same type of shark. The massive predator glided past the tiny human with apparent indifference. This is my friend Kim Nari doing research, Hana explained. She studies shark behavior and migration patterns. She's been in the water with hundreds of great whites over the years. Impossible, Bulgrim whispered, his crystal body flickering between colors. No being voluntarily enters the hunting territory of such a creature. But we do, Hana said. Because we've learned that sharks aren't mindless killing machines. They're intelligent predators with complex behaviors. Most of the time they're not interested in humans at all. She showed them more images. Humans swimming with dolphins, which she explained were actually highly intelligent predators themselves. Marine biologists working alongside orcas. Massive hunters that could easily destroy any boat but chose instead to interact playfully with researchers. The key, Hana said, is understanding what each animal needs and respects. Sharks want to hunt fish, not humans. Orcas are curious and social. Big cats like Nabi need territory, food, and sometimes companionship. Thalnor's antennae twitched as he processed this information. Your species studies predator behavior instead of simply avoiding them. We study everything, Hana replied. The more we understand about an animal, the safer we can be around it, and the more we can help protect it. Protect it, Crix repeated. You protect the creatures that could kill you. Of course. Many of these species are endangered because of human activities. We have a responsibility to help them survive. She showed them photos from her current mission. Images of alien creatures she had documented on various worlds during her travels. Some were clearly predators with claws, fangs, or other natural weapons. Others were more subtle in their danger. This is why I'm out here, she explained. Learning about predators on other worlds. Understanding their behaviors, their needs, their relationships with other species. To what end? Bulgrim asked. Knowledge, Hana said simply. Every predator fills a role in its ecosystem. Remove them, and the whole system can collapse. Prey, species overpopulate, vegetation gets destroyed, other predators starve. Everything is connected. She pulled up a file that made all three aliens lean back in their chairs. The image showed a massive bear, easily 8 feet tall even on all fours. Its fur was dark brown, almost black, and its claws were longer than human fingers. Grizzly bear, Hana said. Another apex predator that shares territory with humans. They can weigh up to 800 pounds and run faster than most vehicles. And humans live near these creatures willingly, Thalner stated more than asked. In some areas, yes, we've learned to coexist. Proper food storage, understanding their seasonal patterns, respecting their space. Most encounters end peacefully. She showed them a video of a massive grizzly bear walking calmly through a human campground while people watched from a safe distance. The bear showed no interest in the humans, focused instead on searching for berries and insects. The bear knows. The humans are there, Hana narrated. The humans know the bear is there. Both species respect each other's space and nobody gets hurt. Your world, Crick said slowly, is filled with creatures that could destroy human civilization if they chose to. Earth has millions of species, Hana agreed. Many of them are dangerous to humans, but most of them are just trying to survive, same as us. She scrolled to another set of photos showing her colleague Park Do-hyun again, this time working with a pack of wolves in what appeared to be a snowy wilderness setting. Wolves, she explained. The ancestors of domestic dogs, highly intelligent, pack hunters. Do-hyun is studying their social structures and hunting patterns. The image showed Do-hyun sitting quietly while several wolves moved around him, some close enough to touch. One wolf was actually sniffing his outstretched hand with obvious curiosity. He has been working with this pack for 2 years, Hana continued. They accept him as a non-threatening presence in their territory. Not part of the pack, but not an enemy either. How is this possible? Bulgrim asked, his musical voice carrying a note of wonder. Patience, respect, and understanding, Hana replied. Do-hyun learned their body language, their social rules, their boundaries. He never pushes too hard or moves too fast. The wolves decided to trust him on their own terms. She showed them more examples. Humans working with venomous snakes, carefully extracting venom for medical research while the serpents remained calm and cooperative. Marine biologists tagging massive crocodiles for population studies, working alongside predators that could snap them in half with one bite. Every predator is different, Hana explained. What works with a tiger won't work with a shark. What works with a wolf won't work with a crocodile. But there's almost always a way to coexist if you're willing to learn. The 3 aliens sat in contemplative silence, each processing this flood of information that challenged everything they thought they knew about survival and strength. Your species, Thalner said finally, has turned potential enemies into allies. We prefer to think of them as neighbors, Hana corrected gently. Dangerous neighbors that we treat with respect, but neighbors nonetheless. Around the cantina, the whispered conversations were growing louder as more customers became aware of the extraordinary discussion taking place at their table. The mood at the table had completely transformed. Where minutes ago there had been mockery and contempt, now there was fascination and growing respect. The 3 aliens leaned forward, eager to hear more about this impossible species that treated apex predators as partners instead of enemies. I think I'm beginning to understand, Crick said slowly, his scaled fingers drumming thoughtfully on the table. Your species doesn't see the galaxy in terms of predator and prey. Not exactly, Hana agreed. We see it more as a complex web of relationships. Everything is connected to everything else. She pulled up a new set of images on her datapad. These showed Earth from space, a blue and green marble suspended in the darkness. Then closer shots of vast forests, sweeping grasslands and deep oceans teeming with life. Earth is home to millions of species, she explained, from tiny insects to massive whales, from gentle herbivores to deadly predators. We all share the same planet, breathe the same air, drink the same water. And humans choose to study all of them, Thalner observed. Study, protect, and when possible, work alongside them, Hana confirmed. Take dolphins, for example. She showed them videos of dolphins leaping through the air, their sleek bodies cutting through ocean waves with incredible grace. The footage was clearly taken from boats, with humans watching in obvious delight. Dolphins are marine predators, she explained. They hunt fish, squid, and sometimes larger prey. They have rows of sharp teeth and can ram attackers with enough force to break bones. The video shifted to show dolphins approaching human swimmers, interacting playfully in clear, shallow water. But they're also incredibly intelligent and social, Hana continued. They've been known to help human fishermen by herding fish into nets. They've rescued drowning swimmers by pushing them to shore. They play games with human children in the surf. Cooperation, Bulgrim said, his crystal body settling into a steady blue glow. True interspecies cooperation. It gets even more interesting, Hana said, scrolling to new images. Let me show you something that might surprise you. The photos showed what appeared to be a military or police training facility. Humans in uniform were working with large, powerful dogs that looked nothing like typical pet animals. Working dogs, she explained. We've been partnering with canines for thousands of years. They help us hunt, guard our homes, detect dangerous substances, track criminals, and even fight alongside us in battles. Fight alongside you, Crix repeated, as allies in combat. Absolutely. Military and police dogs are full partners with their human handlers. They share the same risks, receive the same honors, and are mourned just as deeply when they fall. She showed them images of handlers and their canine partners working together in various dangerous situations. The trust between human and animal was obvious in every photo. The dog might weigh only 60 pounds compared to a human's 150, Hana explained. But they bring abilities we don't have. Better senses, different perspectives, complementary skills. Thalnor's compound eyes reflected the screen as he studied the images. Your military actively recruits predators as soldiers. We recruit partners, Hana corrected. And it's not just dogs. We work with horses for cavalry and transportation. We've used birds of prey for communication and reconnaissance. Even domestic cats serve military purposes by controlling vermin in supply areas. She scrolled to historical images showing humans and animals working together throughout their civilization. Cavalry charges with humans and horses moving as one unit. Falconers using birds of prey to carry messages across battlefields. Even images of war elephants from ancient Earth armies. Your entire civilization, Bulgrim said wonderingly, is built on partnerships with other species. In many ways, yes, Hana agreed. We couldn't have developed the way we did without animal partners. Dogs helped us hunt larger prey and survive harsh winters. Horses let us travel vast distances and build trade networks. Cattle and other livestock provided food and materials. She pulled up more recent images showing the modern applications of human-animal partnerships. Search and rescue dogs finding survivors in disaster zones. Therapy animals helping humans recover from trauma and illness. Guide dogs helping blind people navigate the world safely. Even our medicine benefits from animal partnerships, she added, showing photos of laboratory animals contributing to medical research. We found treatments for diseases by studying how different animals heal and adapt. And your space program, Crix asked. Do you bring animal partners to the stars as well? Hana laughed. Not usually on long missions like this one, but yes. Animals have been part of human space exploration from the beginning. Dogs, monkeys, and other species helped us learn how to survive in zero gravity. She showed them historical footage of early space missions featuring animal astronauts, then more recent images of space stations where humans conducted experiments with various Earth creatures. We're even looking into which Earth animals might adapt well to life on other worlds, she explained. If humans colonize new planets, we'll probably bring some of our animal partners along. The three aliens exchanged glances that spoke volumes. They were beginning to understand that humanity's approach to survival was fundamentally different from their own. Instead of conquering their environment, humans had learned to integrate themselves into it. This is why you're here, Thalnor said suddenly. Not just to study alien predators, but to see if you can form partnerships with them too. That's the long-term goal, Hana admitted. Not with every species, obviously. Some are too alien, too aggressive, or too specialized. But there might be opportunities for cooperation with certain species on certain worlds. You want to add alien predators to your collection of partners, Bulgrim said, his crystal body cycling through several colors. I prefer to think of it as expanding the family, Hana said with a smile. Every species has something unique to offer. Who knows what we might learn from the creatures living on worlds like yours. The cantina around them had grown very quiet. Word had spread throughout the room about the human who kept apex predators as pets and was looking to add alien species to her collection. Some customers looked fascinated. Others looked terrified. Your species, Crix said slowly, doesn't conquer, Ecosystems. You join them. We adapt, Hana said simply. It's what we've always done. It's what makes us human. The silence that settled over their table was different from the hostile quiet that had filled the cantina earlier. This was thoughtful, almost reverent. The three aliens who had been mocking human weakness were now looking at Hana with something, approaching awe. Crix was the first to break the silence. His scaled hands rested flat on the table, claws retracted in a gesture of non-aggression that Hana recognized from her xenobiology training. Human Hana, he said carefully, using her name for the first time. I must ask you something that troubles me deeply. Of course, she replied, settling back in her chair. When your kind explores new worlds, when you encounter predators like the ones we described, what is your first instinct? Do you seek to dominate them as we do? Hana considered the question seriously. Our first instinct is usually to observe and understand. We want to know how they hunt, what they eat, how they interact with other species. We try to figure out their role in the ecosystem. And then, Thalner clicked, his mandibles moving nervously. Then we try to find ways to coexist. Sometimes, that means staying out of their territory. Sometimes it means learning to communicate with them. And sometimes, if we're very lucky, it means building a relationship based on mutual benefit. Bolgrim's crystal body had settled into a steady purple glow. You don't automatically see them as enemies to be defeated? Why would we? Hana asked. Most predators aren't evil or malicious, they're just trying to survive, same as everyone else. They hunt because they need food. They defend territory because they need space. They fight because they feel threatened. She pulled up one final image on her datapad. This one showed her at work in what was clearly an alien environment. Strange, twisted trees reached toward a purple sky, and in the foreground was a creature unlike anything the three aliens had seen before. It had 6 legs, crystalline growths along its spine, and eyes that glowed with their own inner light. I took this photo 3 months ago on Kepler 442b, she explained. The locals call them crystal stalkers. They're apex predators in their forest ecosystem, but they're also incredibly intelligent. You made contact with them, Crix breathed. Limited contact. They're curious about humans and we're curious about them. We've been leaving small gifts for each other. Nothing major, just tokens of goodwill. Gifts, Thalnor repeated. You exchange gifts with alien predators. It's a start, Hana said. Building trust takes time. The crystal stalkers are still deciding whether humans are worth their attention. But the fact that they haven't attacked our research camp is a good sign. The 3 aliens sat in stunned contemplation. Everything they thought they knew about survival and strength was being turned upside down. The humans weren't weak because they lacked natural weapons. They were strong because they didn't need them. Your species, Bolgrim said slowly, has no enemies. Oh, we have plenty of enemies, Hana laughed. Disease, natural disasters, and unfortunately sometimes each other. But you're right that we don't usually see other species as automatic enemies. Even species that could easily kill you. Especially species that could easily kill us. Those are the ones it's most important to understand. Around the cantina, conversations had resumed, but many customers were still glancing their way. The story of the human with pet predators would be spreading through the station by now, passed along in a dozen different languages. Crix leaned forward, his expression serious. Hana, I need to apologize to you. When we saw you sitting alone, we assumed you were weak because you looked soft and defenseless. We thought you were prey, Thalner added, his clicks subdued. Something to be dismissed or dominated. We did not understand, Bolgrim chimed in, his crystal body flashing with what appeared to be embarrassment. We judged your entire species, based on surface appearance. No harm done, Hana said warmly. It's a common mistake. Humans do look pretty harmless compared to species like yours. But you're not harmless, Crix said. You're something much more dangerous than a simple predator. What do you mean? A predator can only kill you, Thalner explained. But you can turn enemies into allies. You can change the nature of entire ecosystems. You can make the impossible seem normal. You're apex cooperators, Bolgrim added. The most dangerous kind of creature there is. Hana blinked in surprise. She had never heard that term before, but it fit better than she cared to admit. Humans weren't apex predators in the traditional sense, but they had found a way to become the most successful species on their planet through cooperation and adaptation. I suppose that's one way to look at it, she said thoughtfully. It explains so much, Crix continued. Why human technology advances so quickly, why your species spreads to new worlds so easily, why other species either fear you or want to ally with you. You don't conquer, Thalner observed. You integrate, you absorb, you adapt. And now you're doing it on a galactic scale, Bulgrim concluded. The conversation was interrupted by a soft chiming sound from Hana's datapad. She glanced at the screen and smiled. "Excuse me for a moment," she said, activating a video call. "This is from Earth." The screen lit up to show a familiar outdoor enclosure. Nabi was there with her cubs, all 5 tigers basking in what appeared to be late afternoon sunshine. One of the cubs was playfully stalking its mother's tail while the others dozed peacefully. A human voice came through the speaker, speaking in Korean. Hana responded in the same language, her tone affectionate and warm. "That's my colleague Lee Minho," she explained to the watching aliens. "He's updating me on how everyone is doing back home." As they watched, one of the cubs noticed the camera and approached curiously. Its tiny face filled the screen, amber eyes bright with intelligence and curiosity. "The cubs are doing well," Hana translated. "Minho says they're getting more comfortable around the research team. Nabi keeps bringing them closer to the fence when she hears humans approaching. She wants them to get used to humans," Crix observed. "Exactly. She's teaching them that humans are safe to be around." The video call ended, leaving the 4 of them sitting in contemplative silence. The 3 aliens were processing everything they had learned while Hana was realizing that she had just given them a masterclass in human nature without meaning to. "Thank you," Thalner said finally, "for sharing your stories with us, for helping us understand, for showing us what real strength looks like," Bulgrim added, his crystal body glowing with warm golden light. "You're welcome," Hana said, standing up from the table. "It was nice talking with all of you. I should probably get going, though. Early transport off station tomorrow." As she prepared to leave, Crix also stood up, his impressive height making him tower over the human. But instead of the intimidating posture he had displayed earlier, he kept his claws retracted and his stance respectful. "Before you go," he said, "I want you to know that this conversation has changed how I think about strength and survival. For all of us." Thalner agreed, his clicking sound softer now. "We spend so much time proving our dominance over other species that we never considered there might be another way. Your approach," Bulgrim said thoughtfully, "requires a different kind of courage. It takes bravery to approach something that could kill you and offer friendship instead of violence." Hana smiled. "It does take courage, but the rewards are worth it. I've learned more from working with dangerous animals than I ever could have from fighting them." She gathered her things and headed toward the cantina exit, but paused at the doorway to look back at the 3 aliens. They were still sitting at their table, but their entire demeanor had changed. The boastful warriors who had been trading tales of conquest were now engaged in quiet, serious conversation. As she stepped out into the corridor of Nexus Prime, Hana could hear their voices behind her, no longer talking about battles won and enemies defeated, but about ecosystems and cooperation and the delicate balance between predator and prey. Her datapad chimed again. Another message from home, this time with a video attachment. She opened it as she walked, and the familiar sight of Nabi filled the small screen. The massive tiger was playing with her cubs in the evening light, her powerful form moving with gentle care as she wrestled with the youngsters. But what caught Hana's attention was something in the background. A group of her human colleagues were setting up equipment near the enclosure fence, and Nabi had noticed them. Instead of retreating with her cubs as she might have done months ago, the tiger was actually moving closer to the fence, bringing her offspring with her. The message from Minho confirmed what she was seeing. "The cubs are really taking to human contact. Nabi seems to be actively socializing them with our team. I think she wants them to grow up comfortable around us." "Hana," smiled as she made her way through the station corridors. Somewhere behind her, 3 aliens were learning that there were alternatives to conquest and domination. Somewhere ahead of her lay new worlds with new species to study and understand. And somewhere far away on Earth, a tiger was teaching her cubs that humans could be trusted partners rather than threats to be feared. It was a good day to be human. As she reached her temporary quarters, Hana paused to send a quick report back to her research facility on Earth. The message was simple. Made contact with 3 new species today. Initial cultural exchange successful. Proceeding to next system, as planned. She didn't mention that the 3 species in question were sitting in a bar just a few levels below her, probably having the most important conversation of their lives. Some things were better left for the official reports later. Outside her small porthole window, the stars wheeled slowly past as Nexus Prime continued its eternal orbit. Each point of light represented worlds full of life, full of species that humans had yet to meet and understand. Some would be friendly, others hostile, and many would fall somewhere in between. But if tonight had taught her anything, it was that even the most unlikely friendships were possible with patience, respect, and a willingness to see potential partners instead of automatic enemies. Tomorrow she would board a transport to her next destination. There would be new predators to study, new ecosystems to understand, and hopefully new relationships to build between humans and the vast diversity of life that filled the galaxy. The universe was a big place, full of dangerous creatures and unknown challenges. But as Hana had learned over her years of working with Earth's apex predators, the most dangerous thing you could encounter was often just misunderstood. And sometimes, if you were very patient and very lucky, that dangerous thing might just become your friend.